Three people who live in Danville are planning on lighting up the city in more ways than one. 10 News reporter Coulter Anstad is live in the River District. So, Coulter, the plan has something to do with the tunnel that's behind you, right?
Yeah, multicolored lights could be installed inside. The idea is the lights will increase visibility in the tunnel, but more importantly, the people behind the project hope the lights will shed some light on some history here locally and help make the city more attractive. Driving through the tunnel near the Science Center on Craighead Street in Danville is something many people do every day and probably think nothing of. But Tracy Petty and Evelyn Riley have been thinking about it since they took a trip to Birmingham, Alabama with a local nonprofit in 2017.
Once we walked inside, we looked at each other and said we would love to do this with the Craighead Tunnel.
Riley took this video. She says internal lighting features like these have proven to be very beneficial for cities.
I think that us just duplicating this is a tried and true method for cities to have an increase in tourism, and it affects the economic development as well as the community and civic pride.
The Craighead Street Tunnel isn't just any tunnel. Prior to the end of segregation, it served as the nearby train depot's waiting area for African Americans. Pat Daniel is the executive director of Big Brothers Big Sisters in Danville and one of those people who stood underneath.
Being down there in the early 60s waiting for family members to come from New York is a part of my history.
The lights could make the tunnel a destination. Daniel envisions this idea being just the beginning of a larger effort to shine a light on African American history in Danville, especially for younger generations.
There are other aspects throughout the city that they could be taught as well about the Almagro community that's not brought up as much.
Riley and Petty are still looking for funding, but the goal is to have the lights up by the end of the summer. If you would like to donate to the project, send an email to depotglow@gmail.com. Coming up in about an hour on 10 News at 6, I'll tell you what color the lights could be and how they could be used. For now, though, live in Danville, Coulter Anstad, 10 News, working for you.